Hello everyone! Today on Binky's Gaming Thoughts, I continue the suit of coins with the 4 of coins, the 5 of coins, the 6, and the 7 of coins. All right, so the 4 of coins, the image is of Ellana Lavellan, the female Elf Inquisitor. And for all the other decks, it is called the 4 of Pentacles. We continue the theme of Inquisitors, moving up the scale with the people slightly taller than the dwarves, the elves. In terms of significance, same as before, the Inquisitor makes the Inquisition wealthy. The 4 represents people who are patient, practical, and pragmatic. I have to say, for myself, personally, my Elf Inquisitor had to be very patient with the specific other elf. I think we understand each other. The card itself represents home security, ownership and property, building, budgeting, careful spending, laying out foundations, saving money, being socially shy, small gifts, a pay rise, foresight and economy, etc. When reversed, it represents greed and loss of power, extravagance, waste due to a bad relationship with money, coming into a legacy, gains from a loss, lack of control or lack of resources, over-reliance on security, being materialistic, etc. That's not all that bad. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the card. Holding up a silver branch, she watches the wind blow its white, pure petals away, forward, towards an unknown future. The earthly and green colors representing the elven people also indicates a connection to nature and life. These petals, no matter how unknown the future is, will fall to fertile soil and reap new growth. Dressed scantily, she allows her body to be with the nature around her, allowing herself to be vulnerable, hiding nothing from her allies. She leans on a sturdy rock for support. A headpiece crowns her brow, angled towards a shadow-type hand, reaching from the future, trying to touch her, a warning or a guide. She will allow the sprouting trees around her to judge, and she will trust. All right, so what do I think this means for the future of Dragon Age? Well, a lot about the elven past and their gods have been exposed, pun intended. And I think they're going to go with it, like just, okay, this is it, without resistance, and allow this to reveal truth. More truth, more trust, and therefore more understanding. 5 of coins. The image is of Mahanon Lavellan, the male Elf Inquisitor. And for the other decks, it is called the 5 of Pentacles. In terms of significance, the 5 loves freedom, is daring, curious, and adaptable. Elves tend to be that. They have to, and as Inquisitor, these qualities can be used to describe us. Also, it occurs to me that as we're moving up in number, we are moving up in height as well, as I mentioned sooner, and the male elf is a bit taller than the female elf. Taller Inquisitors. It kind of amuses me. At least we see this for the first few cards of the suit. The card itself represents financial worries, a struggle to make ends meet, unexpected expenses, temporary instability, stasis, a calculating nature, feelings of isolation, deprivation, and exploitation, etc. When reversed, the card represents overcoming troubles, less inhibition, relief, improvements over time, courage to find opportunities, fear and hopelessness that ends, honesty, increased sensitivity, etc. So it's actually better when reversed for this card. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the image of the card. Walking amidst ancient elven trees, representing the eternal life of the elven people and the immortality they once had, he holds his bow, another symbol of air, of movement, the ever ebb and flow of life. A Velasleen on his face binds him to an Evernuris, the so-called ancient elven gods, but he is not bothered. His expression is one of curiosity as he looks up and forwards to the sky, high hopes for the future. Clad in deep purple, he embodies wisdom, devotion, and pride. What do I think this means for the future of Dragon Age? Elves were persecuted and discriminated against by humans for so long. I think as more truths are revealed, the future for them is a positive one. Things are looking up, ever-changing, but looking up. That was like Garrus talk. 6 of coins. The image is of Herah Adaar, the female Qunari Inquisitor. And for the other decks, it is called the 6 of Pentacles. In terms of significance, as discussed previously, our Inquisitors made the Inquisition wealthy. Now the 6 represents responsibility and balance, and apparently has a lot of energy. Qunari do tend to have a lot of energy. Also, I observed that the Inquisitors were getting taller, but since Qunari are taller than humans, I guess this doesn't apply anymore. Well, it applies until we get to the human Inquisitors. But perhaps this has to do with status. You know, because, or maybe I'm overthinking it, but it could really have to do with status. But though dwarves have a higher status than elves, so that doesn't work. So anyway, in any case, it's fun to observe. The card itself represents donations, bonus and rewards, payoff, generosity, a period of financial flourishment, gratification, gains from extra effort, recruiting help, debts being paid off. That's always fun, and that sort of thing. When reversed, the card represents greed and debts, overspending, problems finding employment, materialism, poor choices, envy, liabilities, loss due to negligence, theft, deception, bankruptcy, blackmail, etc. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the image of the card. She stands tall, with one arm reaching out towards what represents the past, clad in black for the strength of her people, deep red for the victories of war, and gold for the honor she stands for, freedom. She is Qunari, yet Tal-Vashoth, once bound by the Qun, now free to live the life of her choosing. As her horns stick up, she looks up towards a rainy sky. What appears to be bubbles of ivory shine behind her and connect to her, draping itself around her as though it were her hair, long and flowing, eternally free. What I think this means for the future of Dragon Age. We might learn more about the Qunari people. We might learn more about the Qun, the origins of the Qunari, and Tal-Vashoth might play a role in the shaping of the future of Thedas. 7 of coins. The image is of Kaaras Adaar, the male Qunari Inquisitor. For all the other decks, it is called the 7 of Pentacles. In terms of significance, as discussed in the past, the 7 is the seeker of truth. And the Inquisitor does search for truth. And this card is about long-term projects, another aspect that describes us well as the Inquisitor. The card itself represents a required pause or break in work. Let's take a break. Oh, sorry, not literally, not now. Long-term projects, starting a business, productivity, closeness to nature, hard work that pays off, focus on labors, progress, etc. When reversed, it represents renewed attention to work matters, goals that are achieved, minimal rewards, a fallow period that ends, regained strength and conviction, a sabbatical period that ends, imprudent action, etc. So it's so-so. Now let's take a look at the symbolism of the card. With an arm outstretched towards the sky, he looks ahead, bearing the same colors on his garments as his female counterpart. On his other arm, there seems to be scales, as though reminisce of the magical theory of the Qunari people having been born with dragon blood within them. He too seems to have hair that flows ever freely and shines like an ivory bubble. It is as though they stand back to back and look to both past and future to find the answers to what affects their world presently. What do I think this means for the future of Dragon Age? Well, the future of Thedas relies on all its people, the Qunari included, and the future of the Qunari relies on its past. In other words, to seek understanding in order to survive what is to come. And that's it for today, folks. In the description below, I have the links to all the decks with which I compare the Dragon Age Inquisition deck, including the Dragon Age Inquisition Tarot Deck. I also have the books that I use to figure out what the cards actually represent, what the cards mean, which are The Path of the Fool by Michael Sarian and The Green Witch Tarot Companion by Anne Mora. Throughout the week, I will be putting out the music from this video. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the bell icon for notifications. All the usual stuff. And I'll see you all soon. Masaranas. Be sure to check out some of my other stuff, and remember to buy video games at a discounted price and support me at no additional cost to you. Just follow my G2A affiliate link. You can also join in on the fun on Patreon for some exclusive content. Thanks for tuning in.